Oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? The price of Bitcoin getting a little bit of a dip right now in the last few hours. Sorry for the late live stream, guys. I was out, but with this price action moving to the downside, I had to do a live stream, okay? Even though it's late at night, we need to cover the price of Bitcoin. What's happened? What could happen next? Are we going to 99K already in the next coming hours, or is a higher low going to be forming? Let me know in the comment section. I've got a poll right there. Make sure to get your votes in, legends, and we'll be discussing here the different scenarios. What we mentioned today for a sign of strength, however, the price instantly moved down, okay? We need to talk about what we've been talking about in the previous videos, updates, right? Live streams. Let's go, legends. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. Let's put a little bit of background music, and we're going to dive in right away through the comment section right away, okay? Forming a little bit of a swing failure pattern here at the moment. Very shallow bounce. It is an important zone. We're literally trading beneath the point of control. We did get a very small reaction here, guys. Very small little bounce. Anybody that wanted to attempt this swing failure pattern, take it as a scalp, take most of the profits after bouncing a few $100s. But yeah, it is risky. It is without a doubt risky with this movement down. We are prioritizing the potential of coming down to below 99K, at least myself. No financial advice. I'm just giving my opinion. We did get a little reaction from this higher low. I mean, a very small bounce. And we're just literally at the lows forming a descending triangle. If you are going to form a swing failure pattern, you want to leave. You want to leave the station, tap it and go. You want to go, right? And correct and go. This right now, descending triangle into the lows right there, you know, it's just not a good sign. Not a good sign. If it bounces from here, then so be it. But I would have just treated this as a scalp, as mentioned in today's video update. And, you know, there were a couple of trading scenarios that we were going to go through that was mentioned today. This one literally came up to almost to hit the point of control, right? If you lose this zone, there's a lot of resistance. Almost just barely scratched it. It's a little reaction SFP from that higher low. It's literally bounced $500 or so. Very small bounce, guys. Only for the scalpers, only for the people that are ready to take that action. Stop beneath the low, little bounce. It depends on what trading strategy. I wouldn't class this as a level where the price is going to get a massive rally. Of course it can. You can always leave a small position open, give it a chance. But we just broken a lot of the support levels, okay, such as the Valley area high. There was another plan today which looked pretty interesting. This was actually a pretty interesting short just because on how the price developed here. Just because how the price developed was very interesting for a short, guys, because you know, let's just go through the comment section. We got lots to talk about, okay? Lots to talk about. This is a bouncing zone. We are reacting, right? Sweeping liquidity from this higher low. You know, it's one of the attempts. We did talk about a channel formation here. There was no channel formation whatsoever. We just absolutely nuked from here very quickly in the last few hours. Very aggressive drop. Okay, nothing consolidating, no major, you know, slow pullback. Very aggressive. We want to try and stay away on the aggressive moves. When we get consolidations and channels and ranges is where we have opportunities. So yeah, let's just quickly say hello to the people. Thank you very much for smashing the like button, guys. I can see already starting the stream. We had some, you know, pretty decent likes. Much love to everybody. Sorry for the late live stream. I've been out. But obviously with this volatility, you know, before going to bed, we need to talk about some scenarios. Okay, 95, 84, and 72K. Wow. Crypto trader here, PT, is very bearish. Very bearish locally for the next coming weeks. Looks like he is claiming for much lower prices. The technicals for a successful breakdown are low, right? They are low for a successful breakdown from this zone, but we just never know if it is going to break down successfully and really go to, you know, 84K like crypto trader PT here is saying, right? Mustaine, how are you doing, my man? Where TP? On the SFP, I mean, I would take already on this little bounce that we've had. But, just realize that we are beneath this point of control of this range of the last 10 days, right? Well, 10 days? Yeah, about 10 days. This is the problem right now, that you're beneath resistance. Yeah, if you get above this resistance, then VWAP. I mean, this is a scalp. I wouldn't be extremely confident of this trade coming in the next coming days all the way up to the highs at 107k. I mean, maybe it could climb up. Maybe it could. Probabilities are lower, but probabilities can change very, very quickly. But TP1 would be that point of control, which we just barely scratched, and the session VWAP is very, very high up here. So session VWAP would be your TP2. But I would treat it as a scalp, guys. This is it's looking weak. It's looking very, very weak. We already got the bounce, and we're coming down into a very, very descending triangle formation. I mean, it's reacting, it's holding, so it is doing something. You've claimed the liquidity down here. It's not interesting to look for shorts here, just in case you get a larger relief rally. But you kind of just slightly swept the lows right over here. Let me just change this. We just slightly swept the lows, and obviously after sweeping that liquidity, after getting such an aggressive drop, you can expect a little relief rally, a reaction, right? Which is currently what is happening right now with the price. It's kind of wanting to hold this level. It's always good to take some local profits and keep a small position. If the price wants to bounce, it will bounce, right? And then it doesn't matter if this stop loss is extremely small, because if we were to get a significant bounce in the next couple of days, risk to reward is still relatively high. Okay, but I don't like the reaction. We're coming back down here a bit in a descending triangle formation, but it's just an SFP. What I don't like is that we are beneath the point of control, right? We got a few scenarios that I want to talk about today, guys. Make sure to stay tuned, stay safe, smash up the like button. Let's go through the comment section. Quickly say hello to everybody, okay? Suzanne, hello everyone. Hello Suzanne, how are you doing? Much love to you. Much appreciate all the hard work you do for us. Reynaldo, much love to you. I like Mr. Gagdawops, much love to you. BTC, no, I see already. I make a short and never open, and see today pump and drop back and even more low. Yeah, absolutely. We are prioritizing the contracting diagonal. Okay, for the moment, the priority, based on this bounce that we had in a three-wave structure, we are prioritizing the contracting diagonal to the downside, okay? This one right over here. This has priority. Just because, the bounce that we had, not too convincing for a impulsive move. Multiple 1-2s has low probability. Contracting diagonal, low probability as well. We had the idea today that if you reclaimed above the value area high, which we did, and form a channel formation, it's super important that you channel here, okay? So to consider this is looking good, not if you waterfall, right? There's nothing to do if you get this drop. Nothing to do, guys. You want a nice solid, where do we have it? Nice solid channel formation if we were to get back above the value area high, right? This is what you want to see, not just straight back down and lose the level, right? You need to channel here to consider that we are going to go to higher levels, which did not happen. So yeah, we just literally, nuked beneath the level here. Okay, no major channel or anything. So that's already bad news if you're dropping so aggressively. What was interesting that we did not talk about, which is literally the level rejecting here at the zone, right, where we have this cluster. Just for education purposes, guys, this is actually a very, very interesting short position, at least down to this range, value area high. It would be your first TP1. correction down to the VWAP, right? Just get that pull back down. You're looking for a kind of a move down here. This is a lot of the times what we really want to identify, which is literally moving up like the way the price did here. Because as you can see from the lows, right? Usually we're looking for some kind of an ABC or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's what we're usually looking for. ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, as you can see here, as you're moving up, the gap, right? The big movement was here. After a big movement, we want to label a potential wave 3 or maybe developing the C wave, right? Where it ends up obviously forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that, when you form this range right over here, coming into resistance, I was out. So, I couldn't do an earlier live today. But that does become very interesting here, where the price is getting exhausted after a big move already, right? A relatively big move on the 15-minute. That's literally what you're looking for, right? Maybe a couple of 1, 2s, 3, 4, 5s, and then roll over. Or in this case, which looks like more as a 3-wave structure, as we did lose the lows very aggressively, you're literally looking for an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave. Okay? And it is a good strategy to see the movement up, the big move up, and then the slow move up, right? That's when you're realizing that this could be a turning point, especially if you're coming into some resistance, some kind of a resistance. Basically, you have this order block, if you wish, on the higher time frame, right? You got the value area low. It is getting that choppiness exactly at the value area low of this consolidation. And when you get this price action, you can see the exhaustion, right? That's the moment where you realize that the price is getting exhausted. That was actually a pretty interesting short position. We did not explain it in today's video update, but it's something that you want to obviously consider. When you form a 5th wave, or inside of an A, B, C, right, or inside of the C wave, you're looking for the big move and then the choppiness, right? That's what we look for as traders to consider, to really realize that we're looking for a turning point here. And if you have confluence such as an order block, fair value gap, value area low, right? It all comes into, that's it, guys, right? This is a good resistance zone, and you're looking for a pullback. You're literally looking for, a little pullback. That's your trade right over here. And double, triple tops is what becomes interesting when you've had a big move here. Okay, you're looking for that choppiness into resistance. That's your shorting range, right? It just looked very, very good when I came here. I saw this momentum to the upside. As I couldn't do a live stream earlier today, it looks very, 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 very nice to get into a short right there. Anyway, right now we are getting a bit of an aggressive swing failure pattern from these higher lows. I wouldn't trust this bounce. I would be very, very defensive, guys. Maybe it could be the low and we get an epic bounce. We're going to discuss a few scenarios, okay? We will be discussing a few scenarios, but we are, basically at this low. It is a liquidity game, so we claim liquidity from here. Not much interest in shorting down here eventually, right? And this is why, you get these reliefs at this zone. We are still prioritizing the contracting diagonal, okay? Could we get one more leg up above 107K? Absolutely, that is still a possibility. You would still be forming a contracting diagonal here. The overall question is the 4th wave in. And we're going to discuss a little bit of the few scenarios. I would rather say that the 4th wave is likely to be in here. Very, very likely to be in. And, I would be expecting new lows to come here for the price of Bitcoin. So we're going to break down a little bit of the levels and how I want to see the price develop. On the higher time frame, nothing has really changed. Okay, this is what happens when you look at the 4 hourly. When we zoom in on the 15-minute, 5-minute, it might look like a big drop, but you know, zooming out, it's just literally not much going on. So anyway, let's quickly go through the comment section. Legend, the tennis, and we need to play some tennis, man. Yeah, I'm off tennis for already about 2 weeks. Mattia here in the comment section. We need to play tennis. My man, Devolt, my man, like smash just for you, Andy. Much love to you, Devolt. Hope you're doing well. Staffer One, go and check out Devolt or CBM, guys. Crypto by Mattia. They're awesome content. You know, every single day, analysis, news, all sorts. Okay, on their channels. I'm planning longing on the 30% correction, 88.90k zone level. Wow. Yeah, this is the thing. We know a lot of people are expecting quite lower levels, quite lower levels. Time to long. Well, we are forming that little swing failure pattern here, so it is a long entry zone. Okay, it is a long entry zone. Treat it as a scalp. If the price gives you that $400-500 bounce, $400-500 bounce, you know, be happy. This is a high leverage, you know, quick execution at the lows. Extremely small stop loss. Okay, you literally, you know, the thing is, can we bounce aggressively from this area? I mean, I don't like it when it taps the low so many times, but it's also known as a back test, right? You SFP and you back test, and then the price goes, just so no traders can be in that trade, right? This is very similar to what we saw. Hang on a minute. Let me just organize this. Right over here, right? Back in, I'll tell you what. I'll go through the 4 hourly because then we can zoom out here. Swing failure pattern from this major range high, right? I mean, this is not it is a slightly higher time frame. I mean, this was a higher low that we formed last Sunday. Little reaction right there. But as you can see, when we created the swing failure pattern from 116k, look, you know, the price is cheeky. The price is cheeky because, yeah, of course you want the price to swing failure pattern. You get your entry, okay, right away. And you put your stop loss at the highs, basically. I mean, yeah, whoever's been holding this trade has been, you know, in the last couple of weeks has made bank, right? You know, it's inevitable to get emotional, to take profits soon. You know, that always happens. It's always good to take some profits. It's always good to be defensive. Whoever was defensive on this swing failure pattern got stopped out at break even, and the price left without them. You know, sometimes you need to get into these tricky games that the market makers do, right? The big money, the people that control the market. Because, you know, there's no doubt, you know, without a doubt, so many people must have got left out from the big move down because of this wick to the upside. So, I mean, that brings you the idea that when you do get a swing failure pattern, it is common to backtest the swing failure pattern level. Okay? It is very common to come and backtest it. This is actually one of my modules that I created a few years ago, where you swing failure pattern and then you backtest and then you go. Because that's a little bit of the trappy zone that wants to, you know, get all of the traders out of the way and then leave, right? Or even a local double top, right, after the swing failure pattern. It's very common to see. It's just another strategy. It gives you another attempt. So as we do check the price action here on the lower time frame, well, you know, we're kind of looking at something similar as well, right? Where you create that swing failure pattern from that higher low of last Sunday, and the price comes, you know, literally consolidates down at the low right there, because it doesn't want you to participate in that bounce, right? So you get the SFP and you back test, and then the price, you know, gets the bigger relief, right? So, you know, it's one of those testing zones. I mean, if you manage risk and you're not going with huge capital, I mean, it's like if it gets stopped out, it gets stopped out. But if you get a larger relief rally, right, then, you know, well, you're making some extra profits. But, you know, you want a TP, even with these small little bounces, already a 3-to-1 risk to reward. You want to leave a little bit open just to say, you know, okay, well, you know, I'm leaving 30% open or 40, whatever you want, right? Just in case that you get a bit larger relief rally. Because, you know, this is what happens, right? The best example that we have is on the higher time frame, this one at 116K. I'm not sure, I was probably in the middle there. Right, where you create that swing failure pattern and you back test it, and whoever was defensive, then obviously a price left without you. You know, it's something that has happened to me many times. So is this the same scenario where you're going to get a larger relief rally? You know, if you come back down to test the lows, I would say that it's probably not going to form a higher low here already, right? It's probably going to lose it. So if this next bounce does not go to higher levels, then eventually, you know, you're looking for the price to take out the lows at some point. Very aggressive move down. These are aggressive entries. We are downtrending heavily, but, you know, you can even consider these little mini order blocks, SFP levels. Okay, for entry, anybody that's interested in scalping, you know, this is how it goes, right? Like 5-minute time frame, you are downtrending. You know, you are looking for this little order block, SFP of the highs, or even SFP of this high, which is currently what's happening right now. Just to give you some, you know, some ideas. These are very aggressive. Anybody that's active and just waits for local highs and local lows to take those positions. But we are here to talk about the overall direction, right? We're here to talk about the direction on the slightly higher time frames. Okay, then we'll zoom in on the 1 hourly and then go through the 15-minute time frame. Okay, but overall, we are giving priority for the moment to the contracting diagonal. I'm going to go through the comment section. This is what we have priority on. And there's, you know, simple reason why we're giving this a little bit of more priority. Whoever got into that short the other day as well, congrats. You know, very good short position to still maintain, you know, partially of that position. At the 107K level, we talked about this, you know, internal swing failure pattern the other day. We were analyzing the waves, analyzing the resistance, a double top scenario here for your entry point to get that rollover, right? To attempt to get above 107K and fail was the option the other day, which is, you know, more as a swing trade. It's, you know, reasonable to still be partially in that position and protected, right? Run it as a free trade. Let's go right away through these scenarios, diving in through the 1 hourly time frame as well, and try and discuss here, you know, what kind of movements can we expect? Low probability for a multiple 1-2. Okay, in my opinion. Do we have a chance for this? Higher low? We're going to reclaim the point of control. We just grabbed some liquidity from this higher low. I mean, I'm going to check the poll. I think there must be a few higher low votes. Point of control right there. We are trading in, you know, just slightly below the point of control, trying to get above it. But a multiple 1-2 here doesn't look too sexy, guys, I have to say. We mentioned this on today's video update, that this scenario of a multiple 1-2, the reason is your second 1 and 2 is much larger than this one. That is uncommon. It's uncommon. So what we are prioritizing that this move is a 3-wave structure. As mentioned on the short idea that we mentioned the other day, we are looking very likely for a 3-wave corrective structure, just because on the higher time frame we are still very much downtrending, right? Even though locally here the last few days we were uptrending, we were very much aware of that situation, but analyzing the internal waves, we understood that we have a lot of resistance at 107 to 108K, and that we could possibly form a 5-wave structure here and fail, right? This momentum to the upside right over here. Okay, and it's all purely based on technicals and analyzing the waves to get that last little leg up and then roll over, right? So what comes next based on the new information with this drop? It doesn't look incredibly great. It doesn't look that great. So we're going to have to discuss the different possibilities. I think we are, we have time still. We would have time to still range. I would say maybe the price does decide to actually go and test the lows already in the next 1 to 2 days. But there would be time to continue this range. Okay, and how could this range develop is what we're going to talk about right away. We want to understand that the 112 is still a possibility, even though the probabilities are low, but it's still possible, right? Anyway, let's just go quickly through the votes, and we'll break down the 1 hourly time frame, because on the higher time frame there's really nothing to change. We have the contracting diagonal, which is what we have priority, and multiple 1-2 here has a low probability, but the downtrend momentum does look like it's going to continue, unfortunately, guys, for the bulls and for the spot bags. Obviously, anybody that has spare cash or ready to long at lower prices is going to be very, very interesting. And bullish case scenarios like this multiple 1-2 is, I wouldn't count on it. I would not count on it. Okay, let's go through the poll right away to see the votes. 62% get below $99,000. That is the favorite one. A higher low, 38%. I mean, we are just about $2,500 away from 99K. People are speculating that we do form that higher low here in the poll, right? 38% out of over 400 votes. We got more votes than likes being smashed, guys, so we need to work on that. 127 likes, 400 votes. Come on, guys. Well, you can click here and click here, right? It doesn't take too much. Anyway, 90K, says Mohammed. We just go down. Adri, man. Yeah, I know. I mean, like I said, we are prioritizing this scenario. Not this one right over here on the higher time frame. This has priority. The bounce that we've had to the upside it looks more corrective. We were speculating on it to be corrective the other day, to look for that last 4 and 5 coming into the valley area low of this trading zone, and ultimately roll back down, right? So we're not surprised, right? We're not surprised. We mentioned the possibility of a short entry, and we mentioned how the price could roll down, right, to the lows, literally, or below 99K, going to 98, 96, right? That's what the zone that we want to see some proof of support to consider the reversal. So these drops, this continuation down doesn't come as surprise. It fits with the technicals and the highest probability scenario. So more internally here, these are risky longs. As mentioned, yes, we SFP'd from the low. We got a little bounce of $500, right? Give or take, maybe a little bit more. I would not be silly here with, long positions. The thing is, we do have the daily level. We do, it's a big cluster right there. However, you're in the cluster. You've got the point of control. It's literally being lost. We know that, you could be forming a larger move down from this in that third wave. It's just a dangerous zone. Dangerous zones are usually the ones that get the bounce, right? Some say, right? When it looks, it needs to hold this range, or if not, we haven't got much going on here, and we could capitulate down. So it's a zone to manage risk, and don't be silly. With the people that are hoping that we do form a higher low, it is possible. what I do not want people to do is to have, go higher with a leverage and have long limit longs in this zone, right? It's just not responsible trading. So that's what I want to, provide here. Just trade responsibly. If you got into the little scalp, then we got the bounce. If you're in short from higher, it's good to maintain and hold, right? It depends on the trading strategy. This short position that we mentioned a few days ago is a swing trade, right? The overall idea is to get to below 99k. That's a swing trade. When we talk about a long here, it's a scalp, right? It's like high leverage, get a nice move, 2-3 to 1 risk to reward, get out, right? Because the risks here of rolling down are pretty high, right? So anyway, let's we'll break down a few things as well. We'll break down a few ways on how the price could move. Looking at the 15-minute, because how do we get down there, right? If we are going to form a contracting diagonal, how do we get down there? Or if we're going to form a multiple 1-2 to the upside, right? Which, this has low probability, I have to say, but you would give it an option. Because, this is what happens. We got too many eyes and too much people, right? Expecting lower. There's no doubt about it, right? When I do take a look at the votes of almost 500 people here on the poll, what is next for Bitcoin? Get below 99k, 62%. Okay, the majority, 38% a higher low, still relatively high. I would have expected 70% here on this vote, a little bit more, which, based on the technicals, yeah, we do have the contracting diagonal, and it does look like that slowly and consistently throughout the next coming days, what makes sense is to just get down to the low here. However, is there a bullish case, right? Because what happens when the thing is, when we understand we need a sign of strength and a first bullish structure before we get the third wave, right? Because you want to be in the third wave, right? If we do get a third wave, a big move up, we want to be in this wave, right? It's like this rejection from all-time high. That's the best example, right? Where you have the rejection, it might look like a descending wedge bull flag, but apparently, we were building up here a 1-2 or a couple of 1-2s, or your second, your wave 2 was a running flat situation here. Also could have been the scenario, but what I literally want to explain here is it might look like a bull flag, right? It might look like a bull flag here. Apparently it wasn't, right? We were very much aware of the 1-2 and breaking down here when we were, hitting all-time high. So you need to give it a possibility. You need to give it a chance, even though it doesn't look too great. Maybe this time your second wave 1 and 2, is longer than your first 1 and 2. You need to give it a chance. SFP from this low is the best shot. I wouldn't want to have any funny business with long positions beneath these lows. Yes, we have the valley area low of this trading zone. Point of control kind of wants to hold. It wants to hold. We claim the lows of this range, this mini range right over here. We've claimed those higher lows, giving you the SFP option. Having a position open down there, the SFP, right? Taking a bit of profits, having a small position. If the price does decide to bounce and see a sign of strength, then we can always add to the position or just maintain that small position. But I have to say, forming a higher low in this region is right now, it doesn't look too great, right? It's just like up here when we had the all-time highs, right? when you have such a blasting move to the upside and you're kind of channeling, you know, not too sure if I want to short here, right? Not too sure if I want to short, right? It's this kind of bullish flag formation. Even though this was actually, you know, pretty easy to identify that we broke structure on this movement down, at least the local structure. Right over here. So you got these higher lows, higher highs, boom, boom, boom. This movement down was the break of this little parabolic move that we had to all-time high. So that's the moment of, okay, we can consider obviously 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. I have to say, I wouldn't give this the highest probability option. I wouldn't give it the highest probability option. And the simple reason is your second 1 and 2 is longer than your first 1 and 2. And that is just not common. It's not common on multiple 1-2s. We need to cover some bullish scenarios. We know the bearish one on the higher time frame. We're going to discuss a little bit of the lower time frame. The bearish case is this one. We reject here at 107k, and you know, in a few days we claim below 99k. But you know, are there any bullish scenarios? That's the question, right? As an analyst, we need to discuss, you know, could it bounce? Could it, you know, what are the probabilities? And you know, probabilities are low for the moment based on the multiple 1-2. Second 1-2 is longer. Support, yeah, we do have support here. We got a couple of daily levels. We got the point of control of the range, which is, you know, I wouldn't class this as a breakdown. It is reacting. Okay, we you know, it is beneath the point of control. There's no doubt about it. We are trading beneath it currently right now. We would have to see this nice 4-hourly candle wick, you know, to consider maybe recovering between today and tomorrow. But you know, daily level was slightly front run right there. The SFP is always the greatest option. When you have so many levels and you have a major higher low zone, it's you know, the SFP is always the greatest option. SFP of a major higher low zone. However, you know, if we were to get a little bounce and double bottom here, this is literally the area that we want it to bounce. But this red box that I have here, I just, you know, with this movement up, you know, the only good level that we have is the value area low of this trading zone, which, you know, you could arguably discuss, okay, you know, it could act as support, but I'm really not that interested in this area to consider any long positions. There's just not enough confluence, not enough things to believe that we are going to get that recovery. So, I mean, the zone that you want to hold is literally that daily, literally the lows. You know, tricky part is that you could double bottom as well. But if you lose this level, I wouldn't be interested in a long position. Would not be interested in a long position. And obviously shorts down here is they're not too attractive, right? The main reason why we're talking about longs right now is because shorts, you know, were detected a few days ago, right? Which is this double top right there. That was the shorting range, right? Just a few days ago. We were interested in shorts at resistance. How are we developing the wave? How we can identify that local double top here. But, you know, right now, yeah, I wouldn't be I'm not too interested in, unless you're scalping and you got good entries and good stop loss. Not a major zone that I'm looking to short any low bounce here. Okay. So shorts from here, little scalp entry long from the SFP here, tick, right? Where we at right now, there's just no major setups, for me at least anyway. There's no major setups at the moment. So what could be a sign of strength, and how could the price develop if we're not going to roll over from here? Is there still a chance for this contracting diagonal to claim above 107k and still form a contracting diagonal? And I have to say, absolutely yes. The scenario would be a double zigzag. Is there a chance for the price to still go to higher levels above 107k, the high is 107.5, and still manage to form that contracting diagonal? Well, the invalidation is very, very far away to be contracting. You could still be contracting at 108k if we were to reach there tomorrow, 108, 109. So the thing is, we do have a zigzag move to the upside. Okay, this is what we need to understand based on still short opportunities, still levels of resistance where we can consider a short. Because the invalidation, if we were to get up there in the next couple of days, is $111,000 still, right? Still very high to invalidate this contracting diagonal. If we are looking for corrective structures, just for anybody that missed the short, guys, okay? This is like, you know, anybody, we could get stopped out from that short position here in the next coming days, anybody that's holding the rest of the position. But could we still move up here like this? And, you know, obviously consider the short later on. You know, there are some, I've got some examples here of, where do we have one? I'm trying to identify here. Somewhere. A double zigzag. We do have one somewhere. Let me just try and find that double zigzag. Just to give you the example, guys. There we go. We got it here. Here we have a double zigzag to the upside. This right over here, this price action that we had in March of 2025. Just so you get the idea, guys. Okay, nothing else. Just so you get the idea. As you can see, with this range of, this is March of 2025. Okay, we got a bounce from $76,000 to $88,000. And as you can see how the price developed, you had a wave to the upside, correction, and another wave up to take out the highs. And then you corrected again, pretty large correction. You could arguably discuss, oh, you know, we're going to form a higher low here. Or we're going to roll down. It's an ABC, right? We're just going to crumble down to test the lows. You got a three wave up, a three wave down, pretty large one, right, in time. And then, you know, here you could be speculating, okay, guys, like we do as well. 1, 2, 1, 2. Maybe it is a scenario. Maybe it could be a double 1, 2. Maybe it's an ABC. We're just forming 1, 2s here. We're going to roll down. You know, are there any other structures that we could develop in the next coming days? Hear me out here, because this is a double zigzag. You got an ABC up. Just to let you know, as we create the plans, I would say that we're not going to get above 107.5k. I would seriously say at this point, I think it's unlikely. However, I've got a plan if we do so, right? For that swing short again at resistance levels. And that's what I want to get to here, guys, okay? Just give me a second. We're just building up this double zigzag that we had in March. This example is just to give the example of what could happen. You have a three wave move and then the correction down. And then you have another three wave move to the upside. This is what we would class as a double zigzag in a WXY, right? Where you have a zigzag up in wave W, the corrective structure in wave X, and then a zigzag in wave Y. Bear with me here, guys. You know, this is not, I know for a lot of people it's not easy. I'm getting people leaving the stream already saying, you know, screw this crap about Elliott wave theory. But it all comes to, you know, a point, right? At the end of the day, we try and identify these scenarios. You know, this This reading of ABC with the fifth wave finishing the other day to provide that short on a double top was literally what happened. We literally drew how the price action could develop. So, and most importantly, the setup, right, which is the double top. You reject from those local highs and you enter as you reject, stop loss above the high of the wick. And you know, this is the move that we've been having in the last couple of days to the downside. So when we do analyze this scenario, okay, about this double zigzag, let me just break down this pure education, guys. It's important. We're downtrending here, right? Price action is downtrending. You got the bounce, corrective, double zigzag. You claim the lows again. So could the price get a bounce and claim the recent highs, right, at 107.5k? That's what we want to discuss here. Could it be that the price could form another zigzag here? To form that zigzag, wave W, X, you get another zigzag, you get above 107.5. Oh my goodness, it's bullish, multiple 1-2s, and then we're going to break in a third wave, right? Which could be the case as well. But this is, you know, this could happen. Why not? Even though we have hit below the golden pocket, which is decreasing slightly the probabilities, okay, to form a double zigzag, I have to say. But if the price were to move like this, you move up, you correct, and then you get another leg up, I would consider a possible double zigzag. And obviously the targets would be the 1-to-1, 1-to-1, 7-8, 1-to-1 zone, and obviously considering the major resistance zones that we do have above us. But I mean, yeah, point of control, even you could even hit 110k. I mean, that would be invalidating almost the contracting diagonal, but it would be more of a failed break above the valley area low. It will not be easy. It won't be easy to actually detect a short if we're pumping up here in the next coming days through this region. The best way to identify that is inside of this zigzag is eventually getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that fifth, detecting that fifth wave. Okay, you got higher volume in the middle. We're kind of classifying this wave, and that's where you have your opportunity in that wave 5, right? Something very similar to what happened today here. All right, guys, if you're here to know exactly what's going to happen next, I can tell you already there's higher probability in coming to 99k, right? There you go. We provide education. The overall direction is we're prioritizing this scenario that we mentioned in the last few days. So with the pump that we had today, we did not get a corrective move. We just nuked. So it would have been interesting to get a correction here, but that was not the case. So we're providing a bit of education right now, just as we are in this little zone. Not a zone that I'm interested in anything at the moment here. Just the SFP for a scalp, in, out, leave a bit open, just in case the price bounces. But ultimately, we're not looking for a major trade here. So basically, what is nice to detect on a wave to the upside is getting this nice move up, the big move in a wave 3, and then your wave 5, right? Literally, you could fit an ABC inside of here, contracting diagonal right over there, and also finishing here in that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it ends up in a 3 waver instead of a 5 waver. But just so you get the point of the double zigzag here, where you have a zigzag up, this movement down. If there is a miracle and we get a really good rally, what you want to try and detect is this price action. Let me just get the bars pattern so you can literally, if we were to move up, say that a miracle happens and we move up here and we form this, what you're looking for, that doesn't always happen, but you know, sometimes it's easier to detect. This was actually pretty easy to detect. But what you're looking for is literally this price action. That's what you're looking for in that wave, to understand that this wave is coming to a completion when you form this, this, and this. It's coming to a completion here. And that's where you want to look for the short trade, right? Just like here. Just throwing some education here, guys. Where we're currently at the moment, not really too interested in doing much. You know, the risks here of losing these lows, we do have a daily level, could get a reaction which hasn't been tapped. Okay, we've got a daily level beneath us which has not been tapped. You know, a local double bottom, I would consider an aggressive long here, just to get another little bounce. Anybody that is, you know, in front of the computer with a little bit of gaming, right, and just has time to get screen time, right, you're probably playing Call of Duty or something else, and you just set the alerts and be ready for a possible double bottom that can get you a few bucks, right? Just because we have that daily level that hasn't been claimed on this movement down, we only SFP'd from these lows, that gives you already that acceptable scalp. Is the only internal nice little long trade that I would see just for a little scalp. Movement of a few $100s. I wouldn't go too crazy on this. Shorting down here, you know, it's just not the plan. Not the plan. You should be short from higher, right? From either this, boom, 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 boom. That's a beautiful short right there to enter. Or the short that we mentioned a couple of days ago, double top here, was a very, very good short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish your ABC. This is a good short. This exhaustion is a good short into the value area high. Shorting right now here, value area low, sorry, of this zone. Shorting down here, yeah, you can catch, you know, these little bounces, but it's a little bit risky because you could have a larger relief rally, right? You could have a larger relief rally. It's like coming to short down here, right? Yeah, you're down trending. You know, make sure if you get into the bounce, you know, the problem is a stop loss here. You don't have a major level, I don't have any plans here for a short, unless you're looking at the 5-minute time frame and you're happy to get into a short on literally the order block that we mentioned, and internal SFP, right? You know, yeah, this is an internal SFP that you could get into right there. You know, maybe this pivot, or this pivot here on the 5-minute. Yeah, it gives you an entry. It gives you a possible entry, right? Anybody that's interested in scalps. But what we are, where there's risk right now, is this move to the downside. Just developing the first wave down, right? This is the thing, because this can be counted as an impulse. 3-wave correction. And then this another impulse down. You know, probably developing the C wave in this case, because you have maybe your A wave, your B wave, and now you have your wave 1. You get a little bounce in 2, right? It looks just very poor, and then 3, 4, 5, and ultimately you do form an A, B, C. You know, it's not a zone to play around with longs here beneath the daily level, I have to say. You either hold the daily, hold this low and get a bigger relief, or, you know, for me, there's no longs to be taken in this area. Then on the higher time frame, I'll be very interested in swing longs, guys, once we lose 99k. We'll be streaming, I'll be doing updates, I'll be explaining exactly what we need to see to take into consideration that long trade from the two big major pivots. We have the point of control of this range. We have the higher low, a major higher time frame pivot higher low. I mean, this is insane. This is such a great swing failure pattern level, just because it's the first major correction that we had after the the major rally since April and May. It's a major pivot higher low. I love major pivot higher lows. I can give you an example. After this rally over here, look at the pivots, right? We're just gonna draw them here. Look at the pivots that we do have. I have to say, is this one and this one without. I wouldn't consider this a major pivot higher low, but this one right over there. Look what happened on both of the pivots, right? When you have a major rally, I wouldn't consider this one a major one. This one, yes, because obviously you rallied significantly after that one. But you can see how the clearest higher low pivots from this low is this one and this one. And look what happened to both of them. Look what happened to both of them. This one over here, we got an epic bounce. Epic bounce right there. And this one right over here, we also got this swing failure pattern, a little bit more aggressive, movement down of $1,000 plus or so. Big bounce here, big SFPs. This one has not been tested. This one has not been tested. So, I would be very, very ready. I've got alerts. If I'm asleep, hopefully I will get awake from that alert. But I'm very interested in longing here. I'm not going to go crazy and go all in, but I would be in 2-3% potentially. Give a bit of room for stop loss. Because I would be looking for a pretty significant relief rally if we do SFP. Stop loss is beneath the low of the wick, so the risk management is in place. We don't mind losing a little bit if it does not SFP. And obviously we got the contracting diagonal to back it up. We got some backup here based on this pattern. So yeah, will it come to fruition? I don't know. We got a plan. We got a plan for a relief rally. I need to be awake. I need to be in front of the charts. And we got even a point of control just $1,500 beneath us, which can be treated as a swing failure pattern as well. Get beneath it, get above it, long, stop loss. They're very, very close together. It's just a very, very interesting zone, without a doubt. So yeah, just wanted to break that down on the higher time frame. It would be a higher time frame swing. How can the price develop in the next coming hours? That is the main question. How can the price develop in the next coming hours? Hang on a minute. That's interesting. Literally formed a support resistance flip also. You did not only swing failure pattern here, acted as support, backtest, resistance the other day as well. Just a simple, resistance level flipping into support. That was interesting to see as we were discussing that scenario. So yeah, major the I think that the price action does have the risk here to roll over, guys. It does have the risk to roll over. Really not a fan here of getting into major longs. Just the scalp, as mentioned, the daily level can be treated as a local double bottom on the 5-minute time frame. But be cautious, we could be breaking down, right? Daily level that was not tapped for an internal local double bottom. Maybe it's an entry. You know where to put stop loss. You know where to enter. You need the fake out. If you break it, you don't do anything. You just let the price go, right? And you're happy because you're holding shorts, right, from higher, right? That would be the idea here. So either this SFP successfully bounces a little bit more, or you double bottom and maybe you get a larger relief rally throughout the next coming hours in between today and tomorrow. If you break this zone, I personally would not be interested. You know, the risks here of breaking lower, we haven't got much support. So this is support. This is SFP of the lows. This is a zone that can bounce. Not much more to discuss. Really, there really isn't. Levels of resistance on my side. We lost previous day, value area low, daily open, previous day point of control. Just a lot of resistance above us, guys. The point of control of this entire range as well. We're literally trading above it, below it, sorry. And yeah, it's just I would not be fond of any long positions. I mean, for a major long position, what we would have to see if we were to form that double zigzag and it comes to fruition, which, I mean, it could, guys, we might be surprised, you know, where we hold this zone and rally, correction, rally, right? So rally, correction, rally. The only long trade would be in this corrective structure. Well, of course, we would need a clear 5-wave move back up and a corrective kind of structure here. We will try and identify some support. It might form this internal inverted head and shoulder, right? But we would be interested in getting into the right shoulder. But we need, unless you're catching the low here at the daily or this SFP and you're managing risk, if you come back down there, I would not be interested in any longs. If you break the zone, you need to do locally double bottom, just because it gives you the best entry and you can be very defensive and have a tiny stop loss. And it's all about that. It's all about having a small loss. Trading is all about small losses and being patient, right? We don't always have a trading setup, right? Because the other day we had this trading setup, which was absolutely great. Local double top, reject from 107K. That is the trade. This is the trade. That is the trade. You know, if we have a trade, we're going to talk about it for quite a bit. This was the trade. ABC speculation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we got the setup, reject from the highs, short trigger, stop loss above the wick. Projection, yeah, you want to take some profits on the way down, but leave some open for 99K. Today was very interesting for a short, guys. You know, I just wasn't around and about. I wish I could have gone live here. This was roundabout. Yeah, it was roundabout for the time that I should have been live. Would have been very, very interesting to be live here. Local double triple tops. You know, that's what I would have said. Local double triple tops. It would have been interesting. But I just wasn't around today. I had stuff to do, so, which is unfortunate. Right here, we only have the local double bottom option, guys. If you did not get into this SFP, which was a entry point, it was a plan, guys. It was a plan. This SFP is a plan. But you want to enter at the exact low. You don't want to enter after bouncing $500 as we're downtrending, and we give priority to go lower prices. If you're happy to go in with a small position and have a stop loss here, if you're happy with that, I'm not too fond of it. As mentioned, I would treat it just as a scalp. If we were to recover from here, I would take it as a bonus. But yeah, the entry, you need to be very, very strict with your entries, guys. Very, very strict with entries. Not much has to be said, guys. The clearest long position would be forming, apart from that daily level, catching the lows. There's two options to get into the trades here. catching the lows, SFP, or waiting for the impulsive move up and a corrective structure, channeling formation, and speculate that you could get another leg up. That's the only options. So yeah, that's a little bit it, guys. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. You absolute legends. Okay, music's gone off. I did a late live stream today. We'll be doing a live stream tomorrow for sure, guys. Remember, if you are interested in trading, BTCC with the biggest bonus available out there, $10,000 in rewards. You get them airdropped to your account the more you trade, okay? And also bluffing with 20% cashback, guys. Take advantage of this. Anybody that is responsible in their trading and know what they're doing, or has responsibility with risk management, you got the links and the bonuses down below, okay? For bluffing or BTCC, you just need an email and a password. So where from? I am from half UK, half Spain. Much love, Staffer One, to you, brother. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining the stream today, Thomas. It's tired. It's late and I'm tired. Andy, draw it yesterday. Do it make sense. Andy, draw it yesterday. Make it sense. Andy, gold, please. We will take a look at some altcoins on tomorrow's stream. ICP recovering, ready to moon. We are at support on ICP. It really depends on Bitcoin. You're very welcome, Stefan. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining. Okay. Thanks for smashing the like button. Sorry for the late live stream. I'll do it slightly earlier tomorrow. 142. Byron, my man, much love. Much love to you. EWT is complex. Elliott wave theory is complex for many. Even volume profiles, liquidity levels, patterns, trend, RSI, MACD, all sorts. Too complex for most. But if you day trade, you need to understand it. Absolutely. You need to understand many, many different factors. Thank you very much for joining today. Stay safe, trade safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.